presence of Dennis. And we all want to have access, don't we? To know how to open the door to whatever, whether it's relationship, whether it's success, money, and of course the divine. We want access to the divine. We want to know whatever those magic words are, open sesame, so that the door gets open. But what we fail to understand is that the door opens inward. We are really always looking for access to our deepest selves, to our essence, to fulfilling our deepest potential, which ultimately is about reaching our dreams. Our dreams are based on our most compelling desires. And we've just been studying in the Way of Mastery on Monday evening that desire is essential. You have to desire God. You have to desire to be God if you want that to happen. And our dreams are based on our aspirations to become our God selves in this now moment, which is the second coming of God, believe it or not. God remembering itself as God in human form. That's what this deal is all about. That's what this game is all about. And that is what ascension looks like. It's not us popping out there somewhere. It's us standing right here and allowing the divine to show up inside of us and for us to be aware of it. So rather than an upward kind of a thing, it's more like sideways. It's the divine human connection. So how do we get that? There's a classic devotional depiction in Christian circles of the Sacred Heart of Jesus that shows us how, which is often misunderstood and misrepresented. That opening scripture gets really turned around when it says that the only way to salvation, people think it's through Jesus. It's not through Jesus, it's through the Christ. And so, if you would put this is an image that anybody who is Catholic, who grew up Catholic, should be familiar with. And it seems to indicate that Jesus is pointing to himself. But in fact, it's an archetypal symbol referring to the Christ, the I am presence that is in each of our hearts. And when the mudras, or the hand positions, what they are depicting is enlightenment, when he's pointing up, our spiritual knowledge, our gnosis, how to open the door, is to be found through the doorway of our heart. He's pointing to the heart. If you want to get it, you've got to go through the heart. And this image has, for many, been off-putting because it shows the heart of Jesus with a crown of thorns. Makes people very uneasy, kind of grosses them out a bit. And it seems to say that Jesus was the one and only way to salvation, to God. But that's not what was being depicted here at all. Rather, it was pointing to the Christ of our being that lives in each of our hearts, our true nature, our true self, that I am presence, that Jesus discovered was in his heart, and that he invited all of us to discover in our hearts. You can take it down now. It was and is an invitation to see our own heart as a doorway to the spiritual realm and to spiritual understanding. And it gives meaning to the mantra, I am the way, or I am the door. That's a mantra that each one of us can say, that Jesus said when he was in his body. And so what we are clearly saying is that each of us is a portal or a doorway to a being that is fully human, while also embodying full divinity. And in a sense, It's as if there are two doors that make up the portal of the heart space. One door consists of our human projections, our identity, our story, our suffering, our fears, and they must be faced full on and recognized and fully embraced. So perhaps the crown of thorns depicted on the top of the heart represents all of that, because they too have their place in our spiritual growth and must be accepted, must be welcomed, not rejected or thought of as obstacles in our spiritual development. In fact, it's the very opposite. They are essential to it. They are, after all, comprised of source energy, just like everything else in existence. So here again we have our non-dual approach to life, which is based on our unity principles. And because of them, we are able to see all of life's experiences as the doorway to the divine when we embrace them in love. There is never a time when we are off the spiritual path or gone astray, when we are open to love. The energy of love is our true self. It is enlightenment. Love is enlightenment. So when we are in love, when we're in the place of our hearts, we are being enlightened in that moment. It is, as I said, the second coming of Christ, of God, in human form, and our hearts are the doorway through which we are able to then enter. So I want to quote from a book, a recent book by Paul Selig, the Book of Mastery. And he says, if you would imagine right now that you are standing at a doorway, on the other side of which is your divine self, your true self. It stands there waiting for you, but its luminosity, its brilliance can't be seen because the door precludes it. You ask, what is this door we make between ourselves and our true selves? It is fear, the creations of fear, the need to retaliate, the need to denounce, to judge, the need to decide from lower vibration what can actually be. Why can't it be gone, you ask? Well, in fact, it is gone when you know who you really are. You all must understand the door is your creation. It is a door that has been made, and anything that has been made can be unmade. There are many ways to open the door. You can reach for the handle and pull it inward. You can take an axe to it. Or you can simply ask that the door be opened, where you are allowed to reckon with the truth of who and what you are. Now, you face the door. If you wish the door to be gone, in a moment, you will say some words. But know that when you say these words, you are calling into manifestation an agreement of great importance. If you say the words and know that they are true, your life will be transformed by what happens next. So my question to you this morning is, do you wish that to happen?
Yes.
Okay.
Bring it on.
Bring it on. So Paul has a repeat after me that I'm going to invite you to say. On this day, I choose to give myself permission. To open the door. To my own divine self. So that I may see myself. In my truth. As I truly am. Today I give permission. For the door to be removed. To be lifted. To be gone so that I may be in full encounter with my divine self. And know myself as I am. And so here we are in our small selves saying, I know who I am. If you have said these words, what you have just done is rung the clarion bell for your own lives to shepherd this into being. And here is what lies beyond the door: true love, true Christ in manifestation, true being in the knowing of who and what you are. The being behind the door is you, my friend, without fear. The being behind the door, my friend, is love without decision. The being behind the door is truth in alliance with all truth. So I invite you to say the next part of the repeat. I free myself of fear.
I free myself of fear.
Of my encounter with my divine self.
Of my encounter with my divine self.
I free myself of the limited self.
I free myself of the limited self.
That would hide from this encounter.
That would hide from this encounter.
And I say yes.
And I say yes.
I say yes to all that will be in this awakening.
I say yes to all that will be in this awakening.
I know who I am.
I know who I am.
I know what I am.
I know what I am.
And I know how I serve.
And I know how I serve.
So we just let those words resonate through us for a moment. Perhaps you're sensing a more expanded sense of yourself, of that human self with the divine energy flowing through it. And so another way to think of the doorway of the heart is to see it as a filter or a transformer through which we send all of life's experiences, all events, all people. So imagine that you are driving along a 2-lane road and you're aware of your heart space as an open doorway to the spiritual realm. And as you're driving along, you see the countryside, you see the cars coming, you see the people in the cars. You welcome everything you see into your heart. It's like watching a movie, except that you're welcoming it into your heart space. And you imagine what you are seeing passing into and through your heart while getting a love treatment from you. Everything showing up is seen as needing love to be added to it, or it needs to be seen as having love already embedded in it. And so you're experiencing love as everything is welcomed and passes through your heart. Another way to do this is to imagine yourself driving around town. And as you drive, you see people, you see events, you see things happening. Maybe you see a homeless person, and you bless them by welcoming them into your heart as the divine presence that they are. And you say, may you be blessed with a loving home. May you be safe. May you have security. Or you see someone who looks really sad or depressed or down in their luck. And likewise, you welcome them into your heart while blessing them by saying, may you be blessed with joy and happiness. This is a profound yet simple practice of welcoming heaven on earth, of acting as the Christ that we are. A doorway that welcomes and returns all energy back to source. Another way to practice this when you're out and about, you see people, as you look at them, welcome them into your heart as the human divine Christ that they are, by simply saying, may you be blessed, may you know who you truly are. We have got to be all about this earth, about this planet, about all the people around us on it, before the earth, the planet, and its people will show us what it is all about, before it will be all that it can be, heaven on earth. When we honor Mother Earth and all of her children by appreciating what it is and what they really are, we are causing the transformation of both to take place right before our eyes. So I invite you to repeat the following. May this planet and Mother Earth be blessed. To be all that it was meant to be. And may her children know their worth. By knowing who they truly are. And again, we just let our minds and hearts resonate with those words. Our hearts can be doorways to invite blessings for the world, for ourselves, for others. Feel the power of your heart space. Feel the energy of love that you are when you say these mantras or these blessings. Another way to imagine your heart as a doorway is to see it as a portal into another dimension, one of light. Maybe you can imagine a doorway through which the light is streaming outward. Everything that arises in your life can be sent into the light. We know that when people are passing, that we encourage them to go to the light, to discard what's dying and to embrace the abundant life that we read about. What if we send all of our deadening past experiences, our dead memories, our deadening feelings and thoughts and illusions through the doorway of our hearts into the light of love that exists within us? Divine energy is within us, just waiting to transform all of our human experiences. And this is really a matter of faith. Whether we truly believe that we are love and have the ability to change energy around us by the influence of our love. We know that when we change our perception, what we perceive changes. The world is as we see it. Quantum physics tells us that. And our relationship to everything shifts accordingly. What we are doing in this practice is actually envisioning the possible. And spirit, divinity, responds to what we vision, as does the world. That is how heaven joins with earth, how the human joins with the divine. And it comes from a place of deep stillness and creativity that is within us, and no fear. In the old paradigm, we believed fear was going to take us out. Don't engage it. It'll take you down. It'll get you. But in reality, fear is part of ourselves trying to return to source. It's as if our heart is the doorway to heaven through which all the misunderstood and rejected parts of us and of our emotions are attempting to return to their divine origin and source. Fear knocks on the door of our hearts, and what happens? We run away from them, or we bar the door tightly. Our judgment of it prevents fear from realizing or remembering that it too is originally divine energy. The divine is asking fear to come home to it through our hearts. I think we're all familiar with the sound barrier. Aviation enthusiasts were keenly interested in breaking the sound barrier by going faster than the speed of sound. Well, perhaps we're facing a light barrier that we need to get past. We don't really believe that we have access to the light in the way that I'm talking about. You see, the ego mind will say to you, oh really, Jerry, come on. You think that blessing a homeless person by making a magic wish is going to have any effect on their lives? Or welcoming fear in your hearts is going to make any difference? That's what the ego mind, the rational mind will say to you. But we have to move into that place of faith. You see, a blessing sent in love, or a welcome of disowned parts, is the highest form of magic, if you want to call it that. Love is the highest vibration in the universe, on the planet, and in us. We just don't believe it enough, or we would go around blessing everyone and everything all the time. As we would say, we would bless the hell out of it. Because that's the only way you get rid of that idea of hell. And this is where true faith and trust comes into play. It's the type of practical Christianity that Charles and Myrtle Fillmore practiced when they founded Unity. So if we see the universe as filled with the abundance that it is, we will call it forth. Blessing is only seeing what is really there and opening a way for its manifestation. It's naming it, seeing it, claiming it, and calling it forth. It's putting faith, what you say you believe and know to be true, into practice. So this morning I'm encouraging us and asking us to be the light, be the love, transform reality, your reality, and in that way transform the world. But it starts with knowing who you really are. That's the foundation. So let us take these words into a time of meditation. And again, we go into the depth of our being. Into the silence. Feel the power in the presence that resides there. And in this place, I know who I am. I know what I am. And I know how to serve. And so it is.